know what's in the food that you're buying for your family? I know most of us don't want to think about this because they say, oh, you may say, oh, it's on the store shelf. It's got to be great for me. Oh, it says it's low sodium. It's got to be great for me and my family. But do you really know what you're putting into your bodies? Might surprise you. It's time to start reading labels. Welcome to another episode of A Few Minutes with Marvin. I inspire those who aspire to make positive changes in their lives. And I'm not trying to rile anything up about the food you eat. Obviously, we need to eat, and the choices that we have sometimes are the choices that we have. But are you making conscious choices about what you're feeding yourself and your family? As many of you know that followed me for a while, I'm a vegan, and I was a raw vegan for a while, and I only bought organic foods. But I'm also traveling the country, so I wasn't always able to get the type of foods that I want to put in my body. Right? There aren't always fresh markets everywhere. Sometimes you're in these cities or you're landlocked, and there aren't local farmers available to you, or the weather, right? Depends on the climate. But do you know what the foods are made with that you're putting into your body? All the canned foods. I'm talking about mostly the processed foods. Things like your breads, your staples, right? Even your milk, your eggs. Are they fresh grown, or are they made in produced in a mass factory somewhere? And I'm not saying that you have to question everything about the food that you eat, but you have to start becoming more mindful of what it is that's in these ingredients. Because whether you believe this or not, some of these items are causing you illness and disease and inflammation. And you may not even be aware of it. You may have, chronic symptoms of something. You don't realize it's a combination of all the things that you're eating. The foods, right? The processed foods. The stuff that you put in the microwave, right? The stuff that, is powder and you put it into a pot and it becomes mashed potatoes. Again, I'm not picking on these things to look at the evil that's being done to you. Although there are some foods that are being produced with certain properties in them to keep you fat, high sodium, right? To keep your blood your blood pressure up. I hate to be the bearer of this news if you don't believe this, and if you don't, that's fine. But I've done my research. I read these labels, and I know that some of these things that they're putting in there, even if they call them preservatives, they're not preserving much other than you being ill. And again, this is not a video bashing any company, or to make you make different choices. But if this message resonates with you, then it's time to stop buying some of these products, right? Because they're really not being of service to you. They're really harming you more than they're helping you. There's no nutritional values to them. And I'm in the same boat. I was in the same boat. I grew up fairly poor family. So, mother and father did what they could, but they bought all the, Chef Boyardee products, things like that, Spam, just to put something on the table. And I understand it very well, and they did the best they could. But it's time to start discerning what is good for your family, even if you're on a budget, right? going to the dollar store all the time to buy that dollar product may not be the best solution, because that dollar product is going to cost you hundreds of dollars in medical bills that you're not aware of, right? And again, I am not accusing any corporation of poisoning foods or putting things in there blatantly, but they know better, you know. They're mass marketing, mass producing. You know, they have to cut costs somewhere. Where do you think those costs are cutting that they're cutting are coming from? Who's paying the price for that? The consumer is. The consumer always pays a price. So just be more mindful of the choices you're making and what you're feeding your family. I know in this time, you know, nobody has time to cook. Nobody has time to cook. I get it. You know, the system has been created to keep everybody so busy that, you know, there's no time for family time anymore. There are people that still cook out there, but most of them, you know, buy the microwavable stuff or the soups in the can, or, you know, the chips and the cookies, you know, all the garbage. Sorry to be so blunt about it, but it is garbage. It's toxic material that you're putting into your body. And you know, it tastes great, right? Why does it taste so good? Because there's additives in there that keep you addicted to it, so that you buy more and more and more of it, that you always want it, that you crave it. Those things were done on purpose. They were. Not every product. There are a lot of product out there that start off as, you know, wholesome ingredients, but the more demand they get for them and they get bought up by these larger companies, then you notice the ingredients start changing. The packaging starts changing. You have to start paying attention to that stuff. Years ago, when my father was still alive, I would take him grocery shopping, and I didn't enjoy that back then, because my father would read every single label of every single can, every single package that he picked up. We'd be shopping for 2 hours, and he'd buy a handful of things. And back then, my patience was none. So, needless to say, I didn't take him shopping a lot. I took my mother shopping because she actually let me pick all the things. But point being is, my father, you know, started recognizing those things too. It took him a long time before he got to that point where he just started saying, what am I putting into my body? Because he started getting diagnosed with these things, and all of a sudden he had colon cancer, and that's eventually what took him out. It took a long time before that happened, but he shifted and started making better choices. You know, he stopped drinking the sodas and the fruity juices and all the high fat stuff, and started, you know, just squeezing lemon into his water for flavoring. You know, I'm not saying you have to go to those extremes, but start researching. Look at things that you eat, and if something in that label doesn't look right to you, or doesn't, you know, you look it up, you Google whatever the name is, and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like something I should be putting in my body. You can find alternatives, right? There's a lot of alternative food items there. And I'm not saying you have to go shop at the natural grocers, right? The health food stores. Although, you know, some of those bigger box health food stores, you know, they may have some things on their shelves that don't serve you for your highest good either. And we've been conditioned to just hurry, fast. No, just trust me. Here, take it, put it in your body. It's exactly what I say. But if you don't take the time to read the fine print, you don't know. And yes, we have to trust. But we're getting to a time now where the energies are shifting, where our bodies are no longer tolerating those foods that are processed to the point that they have no natural ingredients in it. They say natural flavoring. What is that? What's a natural flavor? You know, and that high fructose corn syrup. Do you know what that is? You know, some of the, you know, glycol, they're putting glycol in foods. That's plastic. That's gasoline, essentially. You know, modified it, you know, to the point where they're low levels of toxicity, but there's still levels of toxicity in there. So, I have some foods here. They're, I'm still traveling. I'm staying at a friend's house. But, I was just perusing and, I just, grab stuff that most people have in their cupboards. And, a product like this is a soup, and I'm not going to give you the label, but look how many ingredients are in there. And it's not all the vegetables that it says it's in there. There's a lot of, first of all, I can barely read it. I have to put my glasses on, and even with my glasses on, the writing's so small, but it has a lot of ingredients in there that I can't even pronounce. Now, sure, you say, oh, they have to preserve it with something. I get that, but there are some natural preservatives that they could be using too. And again, there goes the cost of the foods. But if we start allowing the cost of everything to stop us from eating healthy or make us buy these foods that are only going to make us spend more money in the end, you have to start thinking like that. What's that going to cost me later? What's that going to cost, my child, right? What illness could this bring to my child over the course of time? So, of course, these things take time, but if you're eating all these salty, rich, sugary, foods with words that you can't pronounce, over time, they're bound to cause something in you. Some people sooner than later, right? Depends on your immune system. But for example, I have this, this is my shredded wheat, and the ingredient is whole grain wheat. That's it, right? But then you get, your peanut butter too, right? And these peanut butters aren't too bad. They're roasted peanuts, sugar, and hydrogenated vegetable oil. I don't know what hydrogenated means, but and salt. All right, there's very few ingredients. But then you come to something like this cake mix, right? And there's a ton of ingredients on there. For example, this one has sugar, enriched wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron, thiamine, monotrate, riboflavin, folic acid, emulsified palm shortening, which is palm oil, propylene glycol, plus many other ingredients. Propylene glycol, it doesn't sound like something I want to eat, or much less something I want to feed to children. And even, this is a very popular ingredient, food product. It's a pancake mix. But, my goodness, the ingredients in here will blow your mind, and you can barely read them. They're so small. That's not food. That's not food. But, then I have my organic extra virgin olive oil. And what's the ingredients? Organic extra virgin olive oil. I have my organic turmeric tea. What are the turmeric tea with meadowsweet and ginger? And it's organic turmeric, organic meadowsweet, and organic ginger. That's it. There's no preservatives. There's nothing else in here. So why do these other products need all these preservatives, all these additives that we have no idea what they are? Natural flavorings. It's really time to just start questioning these things. And if you look at the labels and go, okay, I can tolerate that, that's acceptable to me, and you look some of these words up, and you're okay with them, then continue to buy the product. But the time for us just to start trusting blindly that the food that we're eating is nutritious and healthy. Even the bad foods, you already know it's already bad, right? But are those nacho chips, do they have cheese in it? What is it that makes it a nacho chip? Read that label and you're gonna find it's some kind of chemicals. And the yellow dyes and stuff that they're using for like the M&Ms and other candy bars, dig a little deeper on those. I've done a little bit of homework on them. They're not good for you at all. Not at all. Look at my face. It's who knows what it is, right? But it can be causing symptoms. I'm not going to go into any details, but the C word could be one of them. So why would you not take the time, the extra 5 minutes to read the label, one against the other? And who cares if the other one costs more? If it has less ingredients and all the ingredients are readable, or understandable, or words that those are the choices that you should be making. I'm not telling you that you have to make those choices. Those are the choices I'm making. I don't buy any processed foods at all. Do I buy some canned product? Yes. I'll buy some canned beans, organic, low sodium, very low sodium. And I'll buy, dried beans, things like that. I'll buy, raw sunflower seeds and raw almonds. Peanut butter comes in a package, but I'm very mindful of what I buy. Is there a couple of times where I'll just buy a product because I'm just having a day that I need not to be so strict on myself? Yes. But even in those cases, I buy the product that has the lowest sodium content or the lowest sugar content. That makes a difference to me, right? And my whatever I choose is vegan. So just start being mindful of what you're putting into your body, because I've said it in another video that I'll link in the description below. A lot of these foods are low vibrational foods. They're high in these certain content products, high in oils, high in fats, high in gluten, high in sugar, high in sodium, right? Because those things vibrationally keep you in low energy, right? They want you low energy. They want you susceptible. They want to lower your immune system. And you say, why? Why? Are there evil people in this world? They're just people that have agendas. I won't label them good or bad. I see who they are and what they are, and I just send them love and light. But I choose not to take their products. I choose not to eat what they're trying to feed me. So just make a choice. Especially folks that have, elderly, if you're elderly, or if you have, elderly parents, or if you have infants and babies and toddlers. It's more important than ever. Even those baby foods that you're buying, start reading those labels. Really, start really reading those labels. I'm encouraging you to. Again, I can't tell you what to do, but the more I see this stuff, and it's been around all our lives, so it's always there. Just like all the, fast food restaurants. Start taking a look at those too, but baby steps, right? Just start with the essentials, the things that you buy the most of, the things that your children crave the most of, right? Experiment. Take it away for a week and see what happens, right? To their demeanor. Do they get angry? Do they, they get headaches? What happens when you take away those addictive products? It's going to be eye-opening. So, again, give yourself a fighting chance against anything that's not for your highest good, right? By questioning those things. And if you question them and they're okay with you, continue to do that. But these times are calling us to make shifts in what we eat, how we act, our thoughts, right? Our emotional states. It's all a balance. So if you're already working on the other things, the spiritual things, start looking at the foods that you're eating. That's another part of it, right? Your physical health is very important in conjunction with your mental health, your emotional health, your financial wealth, right? Your creative wealth and your emotional wealth. You need to have a balance in those. So take a step back. Get out of the ego. Get out of the, I don't have time for this. Start deciding that you want to care about what you're putting into your body and the bodies of the people that you love. It's more important now than ever. So I hope this video resonates with you. If it does, please share it with somebody that might need it, right? They might not know why they're always sick. Maybe the food choices they're making, right? Reading those labels will help. Leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate you. I hope this message really does, resonate with you. And then you decide to make a conscious choice. You're already making so many different choices in your life. Your health has to be one of them. So think healthy, read those labels, and have an amazing day.